This image is pure nightmare fuel for Caitlin Clark's haters because deep down, they know everything just changed. Let me break it down. They thought Caitlin was finished. She was struggling, sidelined, and the Fever were falling apart without her. Diana Taurasi's reality is coming prophecy looked like it might come true. They could smell blood and started throwing their petty jabs. But then, the Fever's Commissioner's Cup win flipped the entire narrative. Nobody saw it coming, especially ESPN, who ended up completely humiliating themselves. More on that in a second. This win reshaped the story for Caitlin and the Fever in 3 major ways. I'll explain everything. But if this season has taught us anything, it's this. The more success Caitlin Clark has, the more intense the war against her becomes, and Caitlin's post-game words, they might just be a prophecy. Let's rewind. This is the Team Fever fans expected at the start of the season, but no one expected this going into the Commissioner's Cup final. They were hyped as contenders. They signed big-name free agents. Their Now You Know campaign screamed, "We run this league, deal with it." Caitlin came back stronger, more focused. And the Fever started hot, destroying the sky in front of 2.7 million viewers. Then the chaos hit hate speech investigations, Caitlin's 5-game injury, and Dana phoning it in like Peter Gibbons from Office Space while still cashing checks. Just when things seemed back on track after Caitlin's heroic performance versus the Liberty, the next game turned into Gladiator Night at Gainbridge. MMA Mabry and UFC JC went at Caitlin with no mercy, and the refs acted more like fight promoters than officials. Then came the injury against the Storm, and Caitlin was ruled out for the Commissioner's Cup. So yeah, when you added up Fever beating the Lynx, nobody saw it coming. Even ESPN embarrassed themselves during the broadcast.
ESPN posted, I think around the 3rd quarter, at least that's when I was notified about it, that the Lynx dominate the Fever to win the Commissioner's Cup. And I took a screenshot. This is totally my screenshot, so I went and I verified this because I just couldn't believe it.
I checked, and yes, they left this title up the entire game. Only changed it after the final buzzer. Unreal. Meanwhile, the Fever stepped up. They went down early, but fired back with an 18-0 run and never looked back. Everyone contributed, especially Natasha Howard, who said she was going to be MVP and became MVP. Manifestation in action. The Fever flipped the script and pulled an Uno reverse on ESPN. They beat the Lynx in their own barn without Caitlin Clark, and the haters absolutely lost it. Not just because the Fever won, but because Caitlin, while sitting out, just added a championship to her resume.
The only strike against Caitlin Clark is that she has not won a national championship. And that is the only thing that you can put against her.
See, the biggest knock on Caitlin Clark has always been, she hasn't won a championship. That's the excuse ESPN used to keep her off the all-time college players list even after she rewrote the record books and carried a mid-tier Iowa team to back-to-back finals. The rivalry with Angel Reese, it's barely real anymore. But haters used Caitlin's title drought, combined with Angel's LSU chip and unrivaled win, to argue Angel was the true winner. That crutch is gone now. But of course, haters moved the goalposts. This wasn't a real championship. Caitlin didn't play and the final doesn't count. Let's talk about why that logic is garbage.
They did win the final without her. But it's not like she's Nikola Topic or anything. The only reason they got to the final was because she had a 32-point near triple-double against the New York Liberty. They beat the previously undefeated New York Liberty after a Caitlin Clark masterclass in a game no one thought they were going to win.
Caitlin was the reason they got there. She balled out versus the Liberty. She made a huge impact versus the Sun. She got them to the dance. Period. But the saltiest tears, they belong to the "it was rigged" crowd.
The real fans, all right? Capitalize the real fans of the W will find out what backroom deal you two made to have the Lynx throw this game. Not even cracking 60 points. That isn't even believable to the most naked eye. When we find out, we're coming for your jobs. Full force.
Here's where it gets hilarious. These same people hyped Angel Reese's unrivaled championship a pro title, sure, but not even WNBA sanctioned. Not only did Angel not play in the final, she wasn't even in the building. Did that stop the media and fans from hyping it up? Not at all. They celebrated her win, made graphics, called her a two-time champion, and used it to drag Caitlyn. But when Caitlyn helps lead her team to a WNBA championship game, suddenly it doesn't count.
Sure, Jan.
But here's what really has the haters shaking. The Fever didn't just when they beat the best team in the league. Minnesota was 14-2, and they lost. At home, a Fever team missing its superstar. This win proves the Fever's system works. Leaders stepped up. Natasha Howard dominated. Sophie Cunningham came through. Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull have been rock solid. Are they perfect? No. Should fans still critique coaching? Sure, that's what fans do. But for the first time all year, the Fever looked dangerous. What changed? Three things. One, this win eased the pressure. Sophie even admitted the team felt like they were on isolated islands. Nothing bonds players like winning even a mid-season cup. They beat the Liberty and the Lynx. Now they've got their swagger back. 2, it buys Caitlyn time. There's been speculation, myself included, that the Fever rushed her back from injury. Now no need. They already announced Caitlyn was out versus the Aces a day early instead of playing the game-time decision drama. Point 3, when Caitlyn does return, she'll rejoin a team that knows how to win. Add in Ari McDonald full-time, and this team can ease Caitlyn back into the rotation instead of riding her into injury. And as a bonus, with cap space and momentum, they're back in the trade conversation. All of that nightmare scenario for haters.
Caitlyn Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds.
Let's talk about that All-Star snub. Caitlyn Clark, the most double-teamed player in the league, ranked 9th, even accounting for injury. That's nonsense. This wasn't about performance, this was a message. They thought Caitlyn was done, and they wanted to bury her early.
America loves her, the fans clearly love her, the media likes her, but the players can't stand her. 9th best guard in the league. Don't try to give me the excuses of, well, she's been struggling lately, or she missed some games with injury. Come on, this is insanity, and I think it's an activist vote by the women of the WNBA who simply cannot stand her success. It's so dumb and it's so childish.
But now the Commissioner's Cup flips the story. The Fever get to rest her. They're playing better. The league can feel it, and that's the real fear, not of playing her. It's the attention. They know a peak Caitlyn Clark will dominate coverage. The Fever will keep smashing viewership records. They'll keep bringing in new fans. And somehow, a lot of the league isn't ready for that.
To the NBA, but I do feel like the pay gap would be something that, we could just take a donation around the NBA, maybe one night y'all don't go to the casino.
I have something on this, though, because it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I don't think there's anyone in America that supports the WNBA more than NBA players.
100%.
Let's be honest, the WNBA has survived 25 plus years because of the NBA's support. Without that, the league wouldn't exist today. Even with Caitlyn this year, the league still lost $40 million. Caitlyn represents a shot to take the training wheels off finally, but growth comes with bruises. Casual fans don't just cheer, they criticize, and some players clearly aren't built for that kind of spotlight.
And in talking to a source or two, it appears that Bonner was unable to, in some way, shape, or form, just deal with that spotlight, which is white hot, right? Yeah. It is just...
For some players, it's not the crowds. It's the online trolls, the pressure, the accountability, but the real frustration.
And that's the worst part of all this, is the new fans are sucking the life out of the WNBA right now. It's just the truth. You are right. You are right, new fans. There has never been more viewership because of Caitlyn Clark. There's never been more attention. They're doing 40 minutes on First Take about Caitlyn Clark. They never did that before, as Monica McNutt called out. You're right. But you know what there was in the WNBA last year and the years prior? There was other storylines. There was joy. There was talk of competition. There was talk of what was actually happening on.
It's who the spotlight is on. They're tired of seeing Caitlin Clark everywhere, and it's not just the fans and media players feel it too. They want the attention, they think they've earned it, but instead, it's all Caitlin, all the time.
But it's interesting, for years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, the media is sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like. Iowa girl, Indiana girl. Well, who knows, and I've said this for years, when the wave hits, ride it. You don't know what it looks like.
Which brings us to the real dynamic. Caitlin Clark and the Fever versus the rest of the league. They know it, she knows it, and if you listen closely to Caitlin after the cup win, you can tell she's not backing down.
Guys, I can show everybody.
The haters are mad. They voted her 9th when she's clearly top 3 to their bitter. And because they're not about to admit they were wrong, the hate is only going to grow. Rough play, lazy officiating, more dirty shots. But Caitlin's statement might end up being prophetic because the Fever are officially back in the title hunt.
We started the year talking about them being a contender for a WNBA championship, and if anything, tonight what I learned is they have what it takes. I mean, they played 5 of their last 6 games on the road coming in here, and if you can win games on the road like they did in an environment like they won in tonight, the sky's really the limit, and this is a team that's starting to get their confidence, they're showing their depth.
This team is stronger than ever, and they'll need to be, because the WNBA soft civil war is far from over. Caitlin Clark and the Fever just claimed the first title of the 2025 season. Now it's time to chase the next. If you made it this far, drop in the comments you've earned it.
See you next time.